If you're looking to bust people for marijuana, you don't have to be the most brilliant detective in the world. Just have to have good nose buds. And you don't have to put yourself particularly at risk because there really isn't any risk from young teenagers using marijuana. But you can get your count up. And yet I have talked to police officer after police officer who says that they feel like they have spent too much of their careers wasting their time just busting kids for marijuana. Like I said, yes, you get your count up on how many arrests you made, but you actually don't go home at night saying, I made our streets safer for the people I care about. And so I also think it's done harm to our police and corrections system because you discourage people who actually want to really fight crime from wanting these jobs because they'll say, I didn't want to be a police officer so that I'd be busting teenagers for something that I don't even think is wrong. So I'm not going to do this. So you discourage people from going in to policing for the right reasons. And then you're busy, you've created this system which just plays on itself over and over again. Because if you arrest them, then you've got to bring them through the DA's office, and then you've got to bring them through court arraignment. And then even if the judge is going to say, we're dropping this case, pay $25, or the DA's office is saying, we're not prosecuting these cases anymore, we told you that, why are you bringing them here? Then you have this little scene, and the kid ends up with something on his record and released. And what I've been told by youth counselors and people who work with young people, even a day's exposure to the criminal justice system can change that kid's outlook on his life forever. And it changes. I know it sounds a little dramatic, but I actually really do believe this. It changes how parents teach their children. And so then it changes the child's relationship with the criminal justice system long before they even are making a decision about whether they would ever think about using marijuana. So I'm going to go back, it's at least 25 years. Rudolph Giuliani was the mayor of New York City. He had a very aggressive police philosophy. I don't think that's news to anyone. And I was having lunch with all my colleagues in my organization. I was running a not-for-profit organization. And I'm going to say like a third of us were white, a third of us were African American, a third of us were Latino. And most were women, so it was a lot of younger mothers then. And so we're having lunch, and the discussion came up, how old is it when you teach your children? And I'm like, teach your children what? How to not get killed by the police. What do you mean, when do you teach your children how to not get killed by the police? And they were discussing about whether, they used to think it was like 13, then it went down to 11. Now in Giuliani time, they were thinking maybe more like 9. I go, what is this conversation? And they go, oh, you're white, you guys don't do this. I go, what? They were like, if you are a black or brown parent, you know that you have to teach your kids how not to end up getting arrested or shot by a police officer when whatever is going on has absolutely nothing to do with your child. They're just there. I go, you actually have a lesson plan? Yes, we play out a number of scenarios that are very likely to happen to them over and over again and what they have to do. and how they have to look at the ground, and how they have to not mouth off, and how they have to do this and that, and how they have to keep their hands in plain sight, and how they have to, and just on and on. And they were like, what do white people teach their kids? And I said, if you think you're in trouble, go look for a police officer. They go, that's not how it works in our communities. And I have never forgotten that conversation, ever, because I have seen it lived out by people I know, and I have heard it so many times. And it all ties back then right around to, and so then you become 15, 16, 17. You're a teenager. You're supposed to be stupid and survive. Thank you. And so you are going to try things, particularly if you think your parents didn't want you to, or if you think that they make you cool. So you are going to have some marijuana cigarettes in your back pocket. Even if you might decide you really don't like it, you're going to have it. You're going to have one of those police scenes if you're black and brown, and probably not have one of those police scenes if you're a stupid white kid. And the ramifications of just one day and one incident can change everything about your life. And just for some marijuana, just for some vegetable product.
And really, it's a public health issue, not a criminal issue with all these substances, right?
Well, of course. I mean, that's our whole broader issue with people who have drug addictions.